Welcome to the Do It All Dad Year podcast, dad friendly entertainment for you and me. What Gen X parents understand, controlling our kids through comedy can make our kids great again. And this is episode 84, Sensitive by Nature. Can I get a holla for some holla? So, I don't know any other songs by Noted by Nature besides You Got OPP. Although I remember during my age of innocence, during my bar mitzvah years, where every other weekend was a bar mitzvah party, and I remember all the girls singing, like Erica Brucker, pre-nose job, saying, yelling, "You got OPP? Yeah, you know me." And I got the impression that everyone understood what OPP meant, but as usual, I was a late bloomer and had no idea of the actual context itself. I mean, maybe I'm giving too much credit to Erica Brucker, but she was a tad slizzy, and I did have that party where my friends emptied my parents' liquor cabinet, and there really wasn't much. I mean, it was like really shitty Bacardi rum, and this guy Dave Usen that I used to be friendly with, he was like the high school stud, and I remember he mixed it with orange juice, and they got by the end of the night they're all over each other. All of a sudden we're at the local Mont on Central Avenue, and Erica's mother had to pick her up, and I used to be really good friends with her when we were in elementary school, but the relationship never evolved past that. Good-looking girl went to UPenn, became a pothead there. Did not see that coming at all, but. So I ended up getting a letter from her parents that was written anonymously, ratting me out for holding a party. And my friend Koopy was there from back in the day, and Koopy had like weed everywhere, and this was all these details and contents were included in the letter. And the only reason my parents were able to figure out that the letter was sent by the Bruckers was because Erica had a younger brother named Ben, and the mom had written a correspondence because it was around the time of my brother's bar mitzvah, and it was an RSVP. So my mom played the role of Inspector Gadget and matched the handwriting. So that's how I figured that out. So my comedic revenge, my first story, folks, my adoring listeners of the Do It All Dad Year podcast revenge is this. We had a place thing called Senior Forum, tradition every senior year. We went away to some place up in the boondocks. To this day, I have no idea where it was. And they would always check for alcohol. We had our own TSA, Homeland Security checks before we went. So what we did, my old friend Ari, who I used to watch all these Dice stand-up comedy specials with, Hot to Trot, I've always been very fond of talking animals. We used to do Ari was the first guy that I ever wore a wig for. He's actually the only guy I wore a wig for. But we used to do these sketches. We did it for Julius Caesar. We did one for the Pigmen. Anyway, he was my first creative partner, and he had the idea because he was the ringmaster. Ari was always great about finding places where we could party. So he was very social, and we would hang out at Clark's parents' apartment. His father's a politician, so he was never there. Dito's place, the mom was there. She didn't like the fact that she wants to drink and drive. We had Kyle's place. His parents were always out enjoying themselves. So, and we had the field at Edgemont, and we had North Avenue where they didn't ID. So we had lots of places to hang out and do extreme damage to our liver and totally raise our tolerance through the freaking roof. Stefan at open house parties. So the point being is we were very serious about drinking at senior forum. And my entire class, we had like 3 people who went to Harvard. We had people that went all the major Ivy League schools. We're talking like 99 of my graduating class. And I was definitely not one of the standout students. My SAT, I took my SATs on time. By the time I completed them, my friends had declared their major sophomore year in college. Totally pathetic. Meanwhile, Ari's mom on his Saab, his beautiful Saab, our Cruise Saab Turbo, There was a sticker, Washington University, great school. Hal Ramis went there. My parents had a sticker that said, "My son sucks. My son sucks at standardized tests." I can't even say sucks. Yeah, you really advanced. You totally have overcome your learning disability. Congratulations. Apparently, not smoking weed has done no good whatsoever. I'm getting all riled up. I have to make a fast podcast. I don't have all the time in the world. Okay, so comedic revenge. Erica Brucker. We're going to get there. We're almost there, I promise. So, Ari has the idea that we go to A&P Liquors. He had a really good ID. Or he didn't get ID'd because he was half Jewish, half Italian. So we got all this liquor. And the game plan, I was with them, and the game plan was we would have this guy, Benji Katz, who we hung out with. He was nice. He was very annoying. But we get stoned with him and everything, and he loved to hang out with our Pinko crew. I wouldn't say that I was like a true honorary member of the Pinko crew. I eventually did, but not at first. But the point being is, we had Benji. He was like our gopher, and he had dropped off all the alcohol, all the Southern Comfort at the site of senior form. So this way, we obviously would not be busted because we had anticipated being the traditional pat down. So of course, this plan totally backfired. The president of our school, Daniel Furstenberg, an upcoming president of his business school class at Tulane Mardi Gras. What's cool about Dan is he knew everybody, and he lived in a very big apartment right down the street from the Boot in New Orleans. And myself, my friend Ari, Phil, he also went to Washington University. This guy Arthur Barrett went to Wesleyan. I'm sounding like a lead of scumbag right now, I know. But the point being is we all came down there. We all had a place to crash, and we had the time of our lives. Meanwhile, a little do-it-all dad advice. Make sure your children have loftier ambitions in life and more impressive, accomplishment-driven New Year's resolutions besides make enough money to afford to go to Mardi Gras. Because I stayed there for an extra day because I was having such a good time, and my brain never recovered. I mean, eventually it did when I had to take a summer off from the gun, but literally it was my brain was playing catch up the entire time. And also by the time I got back to campus, I was totally depressed. I was literally yelling at my surroundings, saying, "Where's the energy? Where's the love? Where are the titties?" So I was still wearing beads. I met this hippie. I took a train from New Orleans to Chicago. I tried to push on her this Grateful Dead bootleg that was just okay. It wasn't Cornell 77. And she had this like Peter Tosh bootleg. And she was looking like, "What are you smoking?" Because obviously it's better than what I got. Or it's better than what my dreads reek of right now. So the comedic revenge. So New Orleans, most alive city I've ever been to. Marching bands everywhere. Great time. So I was actually filmed. I had my friends film me bang this girl, on the couch that literally everyone saw as they came in. And it was such a wild, decadent time. I didn't mind. I was like partially aware. It didn't bother her, and she tasted great. I forgot what her name was, but she went to Washington University. I remember when I met her, I drank a hand grenade prior, which is the second most powerful drink after a hurricane, but I didn't black out from that, thank God, because I was able to remember that wonderful experience. But, so, New Orleans. So before New Orleans, yes. So senior form, we were obviously very serious about partying. And so that's it. So Dan Furstenberg, the president, completely blew our cover because he couldn't hold his liquor. He didn't drink with us. He wasn't accustomed to polishing off like a 64 of Old E, which is basically like a growler of malt liquor, okay? Old E, Snoop Dogg's host sprayer of choice. So Dan, I remember like it was yesterday. It was so dramatic. It might as well have been in slow motion, but he knocked over this entire bowl of Ruffle chips, and it was blatantly obvious he was drunk, completely annihilated. And after that, the teachers started searching all of our rooms, and they found everything. And I was actually going to hook up that night with this girl, Darren White, very skinny, which turned me off. I was in this alternative pinko school. What's got my sleeping bag? She was too bony. Call me flaming fag, like gay, whatever. She was still too bony, and she did have like a droning voice, but she was cute. So I am gay. I'm 100% gay. Who am I kidding? But the point being is I could have hooked up with her that night, and I was excited about it, but that opportunity was now out the window. So, but my comedic revenge before all this went down was we had a thing called the Senior Forum Play, and everyone was having to do a song and dance, a little parody. So I did this play that I created with Ari. Joanna was involved a little bit, but she's not funny, and she acted like she was so cool and hip, and she was very pretty. She was like Phoebe Cates, minus the upstairs, boobage. But now she's a pediatrician and she's totally full of herself, so she sucks. But the point being is she was involved. She came up with the idea for us to like quote Midsummer's Night's Dream in case we offend anybody, which seemed artistic and cool. But now I'm pissed that we did it because it didn't really make a difference because it didn't really take away the sting because we had this one moment because I wanted to enact comedic revenge. I did, not Ari. Everyone kissed Ari's ass. He had girlfriends. I didn't. He had Joanna. But there was Erica Brucker, and I was so pissed that she ruined the aftermath glow of my awesome house party at my parents' place. So I came up with the idea because we had this place called the Senior Lounge, right? And now back in the day, you didn't dare go to the Senior Lounge by yourself, meaning you only went in there if a senior invited you, which never happened. Never in a million years. Yeah, we were so lackadaisical. Well, we were basically the equivalent. I give LeBron James and the new current NBA such a hard time. It's how basically the NBA and Sports Center exists to provide a safe space for LeBron James' ego. But meanwhile, we were so lackadaisical, and so we were so underclassmen friendly. We just let anyone come in there, play CeeLo, which is a dice game. People would let Anthony Russo come on in, so he could go out, basically walk through the senior lounge and smoke his Marlboro Reds. We just didn't care. But we weren't arrogant. We were definitely not the dazed and confused. We're going to beat the crap out of you for the privilege for you to hang out with us. So that was just not our world. And but Dazed and Confused did come out my senior year, which was perfect timing and everything was in perfect alignment that night. Also Clark and Phil, those were great times. But so the point being is, so what do you want to do then? I want to dance. Still kills me. And F you, Goldberg, for not getting back to me on Twitter. You know I was super witty. I deliver you the goods. I show my daughter the Hero Hammer, and you give me Goonish. Off the list! So. And your cameo on Anthos was 5 million years ago, for the record. But I'm glad you're able to bang Christina Ricci for a considerable period of time. I think you're married. So congratulations on that front. So the scene is Erica walks into the senior lounge and she gets hit in the face with a flying pillow because we had these couches and we would like throw pillows and everyone was just very immature. So in the scene, Erica gets hit in the nose with a flying pillow. And I say, no, not me, it was another character that says, oh, it's too bad. She just got that one, which was my first nose job joke ever. To be honest, I don't even try to like top it since. And I didn't realize it at the time, but Ari and I were able to watch a video after the fact. And after that scene, there's a cutaway to Erica Brucker and tears form in her eyes. And I don't feel bad about it because later that time, when she did her song and dance routine with like Evelyn and Dirty Maria, and they basically made all these jokes about like Sharon being this like fat pink girl hippie. And again, Sharon was stuck up too. I still feel offended that I had to share the award for Grooviest for my senior year. An award they meant it in my honor, not her, not for a blobbering girl from Israel. I don't think so. But she nonetheless had shared this distinction with me. And so, but again, I wasn't making fat jokes about Sharon. I mean, to me, she was just, very chesty. But anyway, it was very mean girl spirited. So F. Erica Brucker is my point. And she deserves it. Back then. She was a mean girl. So, and that was my story. That all started with Naughty by Nature, uh, about me actually performing comedic revenge. So that was a beautiful moment, for sure. And but I was mentioning Naughty by Nature. I used to play pickup basketball in Queens, but I don't do that anymore because one time, I showed up with my brother for a little one-on-one, and then out of nowhere, these black guys show up, and they're all wearing. They're all sporting the cornrows, the white beaters, the cut-off shorts. It looked like they all got dressed up for Coolio Appreciation Day, and then out of nowhere, the leader of the uh, Gangster Paradise Coalition blurts out, "Yo, blacks versus whites." All of a sudden, I feel like my asshole aura was pierced from behind, and I lean over to my brother and say, "Yikes! This basketball court just turned into a prison yard scene real fast. We better start looking around for some neo-Nazis to protect us. Our bump-free noses should work in our Drewy ass's favor. After all, we didn't watch every episode of Oz for nothing." But so this episode is called Sensitive by Nature because I was explaining to my daughter last night the difference between nature versus nurture. Sometimes I was considered as were selfish, sadistic, and sketchy, effortless, sweet by nature, because I wanted to write something else for the Good Men Project. Right now I'm at 18 pieces published by them. One was taken down. Disorder in the Dollhouse, and it's my daughter's birthday coming up, and I want to do one more special one for her. So effortless, sweet by nature, obviously inspired by Singing Rose, and then I like this title too, serially selfish or endless sweet. Like for example, my daughter tries to calm her baby brother. Pretty soon, my daughter starts crying because her baby brother's exhaustive sound of despair shatters her melodic world of imagination to pieces. So is my daughter Matilda only acting effortless sweet because of pure, surly, selfish intentions alone? Can I get a holla for some holla? Does my daughter cry at my slightest critique because she's accustomed to me stroking her ego 24/7? Or is she just a direct descendant of my overly sensitive shy boy nature, bludgeoned out of me from endless open mics with moderate success and from cold calling throughout my 20s and 30s in both Rapewood, in La La Land, and in Manhattan? Can I get another holla for some holla? Suicide is a mental health problem, but it's also a pussy way out problem. You were feeling helpless and alienated. Join the club. Suicides, especially murder suicides, caps off the end to a serially selfish, sadistic, sketchy streak also. Boy, was that a mouthful. Kim Kardashian couldn't wrap her mouth around it. Oscars in 5 words. Demonized Whitey for Oscar Gold. Knew the Green Book would win. Sorry, Spike. Vigo was the scene stealer in it. Did you walk out of the Oscars because you thought it was a real-life hate crime also? Can I get a holla for some holla? Black Klansman reeks of blatant money grab greed, an attempt to perpetuate a false race war narrative in the face of Trump ushering in prison reform, new jobs, and troop withdrawals from the hellholes worse than the handsome brownstone blocks of Fort Greene Spike grew up in. Memo to Spike Lee. 64 million branded racists voted for your fake news clone Terminator X. But the 63 mil who voted for Trump are stuck in the middle of a born-again white supremacist crisis who voted with their real Danny Aiello inside. Can I get a holla for some holla? The real manufactured crisis in our country is Trump supporters committing hate crimes in the name of white supremacy to make up for lost time because the Grand Dragon was in hiding when Obama was president, under his sheets, depressed, I guess. Emmy Lou kept Dragon alive by force feeding him grits through an IV. This is me grossing out my daughter. My genetic makeup is all over your face. Daughter replies, gross, daddy. Besides, I'm not the one who licks my lips more than LL Cool J backstage at the BET Awards. This is me attempting to explain DNA to my daughter again. My genetic makeup is all over your face. Face the facts. Daughter replies, but nobody accuses me of wearing lipstick, daddy, and I don't look like Hugh Grant on stilts as a knock-kneed Putz of the Clown. This is the Do It All Dad Year podcast, dad-friendly entertainment for you and me, controlling our kids through comedy. Can make our kids great again, and I'll talk to you guys soon.